Welcome to Proline TV here on YouTube. Kevin Rogers with you here on Tuesday, April 8th, as we take a look at NHL first period trends, and we'll have a couple best bets at the end as we'll take a look at all 10 games inside of the NHL here on this Tuesday evening. And let's begin. We will go to the big sheet and we'll go through every single game and some first period trends to keep an eye on. We're going to start with the Panthers and the Maple Leafs as they meet up in Sunrise. And obviously, the Panthers looking to get on track as they have kind of fallen apart of late. Let's first start with the defending Stanley Cup champions. They've dropped 5 in a row coming back from that disastrous road trip that wrapped up with a 2-1 loss at Detroit on Sunday. And looking back at the Panthers, they have not led after the first period since March 11th against Boston. And when you go through that, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 straight games, 12 in a row, the Panthers have not led after the first period. They've been shut out in the first period in the past 3 games, including a scoreless game against Toronto back on April the 2nd. And when they played on March 13th in Toronto, it was 1-1 after 1. So we have not seen anybody lead after the first between these two teams. When you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are pulling away in the Atlantic Division right now, the Maple Leafs have not allowed a goal in the first period in 4 straight games. They've gone under the total in 4 in a row as well. And the Maple Leafs just looking to stay hot as they seek a 5th consecutive win when they hook up tonight in Sunrise. Meanwhile, the Red Wings and the Canadiens in Montreal and Detroit, they right now are winners of 2 in a row. They still have an outside shot to get in the playoffs, but they need to win pretty much the rest of the way and not and have everyone else in front of them lose. So there's a lot that has to happen for the Red Wings. But the good news is they've gone 4 straight games without allowing a goal in the first period. They're 3-1 to the under in the first period in the last 4 games. Meanwhile, for Montreal, they're the team that Detroit's trying to catch. They are the second wildcard team currently in the Eastern Conference. 3 straight unders for Montreal in the first period after a long stretch of overs. And also, the Montreal Canadiens have gone 11 straight games without leading after the first period. So that's kind of interesting that they've won 5 straight, but they've either fallen behind or been tied after 1. So maybe if you like Montreal in game, see if Detroit scores first and maybe go with the Canadiens there because they've had success at least coming back and winning some of these games of late. The Bruins and the Devils in New Jersey, and starting off with Boston, I mean, you look at how bad they've been of late. The only win came against Carolina back on Saturday, and they scored 2 goals in the final minute and a half of the first period. So if you had the under in the first period of that game, you were looking good until the final 80, 90 seconds. And then Boston broke out for 2 goals. And you see before that, they had gone 4 straight games without a goal in the first period. So Boston, a little bit of an anomaly there. Then they scored 2 goals early against Buffalo on Sunday, lost that game 6-3 to the Sabres. So now the Bruins go to New Jersey tonight to take on the Devils, who have won 3 in a row off that shutout over the Rangers on Saturday. And the Devils have allowed just 1 first period goal in the last 3 games. They're coming off back-to-back unders in the last 2 in the first period. And the last time these teams played back on January 22nd in New Jersey, the Bruins led 1-0 after 1, but then the Devils exploded for 5 and blew out the Bruins 5-1. So that's the last result between these two. The Senators and the Blue Jackets playing again. These teams didn't play all season, and now they backloaded them for the end of the year. And we'll start with Ottawa, who is right now the first wild card team in the East. They still have a shot to catch the Panthers for 3rd in the Atlantic Division. But Ottawa has won 3 in a row. They've defeated Columbus twice in the last 2 weeks or so, less than 2 weeks. They beat Columbus at home 3-2 back on March 29th, led 2-1 after 1. They got 2 quick goals early on Sunday, won that game 4-0. So back-to-back shutouts that the Senators are off of. And it's interesting, they have not allowed a goal in the first period in the last 3 games. In the last 2, they've gone over because they've busted out for 2 goals each time. Now, looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets, they have not been good in the first period. Going all the way back to February 27th, they have led once after the first period. That was against Nashville back on April 1st. They have lost 3 straight. They have been shut out the last two games, getting outscored 9-0, going 16-3 the last three games. Going back to March 21st against Pittsburgh, look at that. They've allowed multi-goal games in this stretch 6 of 8 times. So they've been terrible in the first period, and also they have gone 7-1 to the over in the first period during this span. So we'll see what happens here in the third meeting. The Blackhawks and the Penguins, they hook up again. They just met in Chicago a few days ago. Now they're in Pittsburgh. The Blackhawks beat the Penguins at home on Sunday 3-1 to snap a 5-game losing streak. And you see Chicago there, not a bad stretch. Last 5 games, they haven't trailed after the first period. So that's a bit of a positive. And also not allowing a goal 4 times. Not bad for the Blackhawks. Again, they're really going nowhere. So are the Pittsburgh Penguins. But the Penguins, off that really good win over Dallas on Saturday, then they fell a bit flat against Chicago on Sunday, lost 3-1. But Pittsburgh, though, dating back to the 9th of March against Minnesota, they've only trailed twice after the first period. And also they've been torched in those games, losing or they were trailing Tampa Bay 4-0 and trailed Buffalo 2-1. So if they give up one or less, they probably will be in good shape. And also the under is 3-1 in the last 4 for the Penguins in the first period. The Canucks and the Stars in Dallas and Vancouver, we'll start with them. They lost at Dallas back on January 31st, 5-3. They trailed 1-0 after 1. They were scoreless with Dallas at home on March 9th, lost that game 4-1. So a little bit of double revenge here for Vancouver. And also they're off that loss to Vegas on Sunday. That's now back-to-back overs in the first period for Vancouver. And they went on a nice stretch where they had success in the first period, but they have now lost in 2 of the past 3 in the first period. But if you look at their road numbers, let's go back to, you go back to March 12th, they tied Calgary, they tied St. Louis, led the Rangers, led the Devils, tied the Islanders, led Columbus, led Winnipeg. So on the road, Vancouver has seen success in the first period as they go into Dallas tonight. And the Stars in the last, when you look at this stretch, since March 22nd, they haven't trailed after the first period. So that's going to be a little bit of a tough task for the Canucks. But still, the Stars, though, they've been obviously excellent. They've lost the last 2. They had a chance to catch the Jets and get a little closer to first place in the Central. And they're still a little bit back. When it's all said and done, Dallas will probably take on Colorado in the first round of the playoffs. But Dallas had some golden opportunities. Winnipeg beat St. Louis last night, so Dallas will probably end up being in second when it's all said and done. Seattle and Utah tonight. Seattle off a really good win at LA last night. They got 2 late first period goals and led 2-1, won that game 2-1. So you had 2-1 at the end of 1, no goals in the final 40 minutes. And Seattle now 3-0 on this road trip. Very impressive job by them, even though they're out of playoff contention. Now they go to Utah with no rest to take on the Hockey Club. And the last time they played in Seattle, the Kraken won 4-2. It was 1-1 after 1. And in the first meeting between these two was 2-1 back on December 30th. And the Kraken ended up winning that game 5-2. So just to make sure, just want to double check my notes. No, they didn't play again. So 2 high-scoring first periods between these 2 teams. Now going to the Hockey Club of Utah. They are off a win over Winnipeg on Saturday. That's 5 straight unders for the Hockey Club, and 5 straight games they have not allowed a goal in the first period. So Karel Vejmelka has played basically every game. He's been the guy since Connor Ingram was sidelined. So Vejmelka keeps playing, and he keeps playing well. And you see Utah's had some success of late. So we'll see if Utah can keep that up. Also Seattle, they've been very good of late. We'll see if they keep that up. Now, Vegas and Colorado, the last game of the night, and that is the ESPN game at 9:30. 2 teams that could see each other somewhere down the line in the playoffs. You never know. And Vegas, they've won 8 of 10. They're off a couple wins on their road trip at Calgary and at Vancouver on a back-to-back. And now they go take on Colorado. Earlier this season, when they played, the Golden Knights, they took on Colorado. It felt like many moons ago when it was October 9th, 3-1 at home. They led after the first period. and they won that game 8-4. They lost 2-1 in the shootout in the next meeting on November 27th in Denver. So you had a high-scoring first period the first time, low-scoring game the second time around, and now they are hooking up again, and we'll see if Vegas can stay hot. Now going to Colorado for a moment, the Avalanche, off that loss to St. Louis on Saturday, that snapped a little two-game winning streak. They've gone over the total in the first period. In the last two, they've scored a goal, or they've allowed a goal in the first period in 3 straight games. But still, Colorado has been good at home in the first period. Last time they trailed was against Toronto back on March 8th. And the Avalanche, still a very good team in the first period, although they've had some struggles in the first period at home overall this season. Taking a quick look over here, 10, 16, and 13. So not great for the Avalanche in the first period so far this year at home, but they played better recently. So now we're going to take a look at a couple of first period best bets. And the first one we're going to do is one of the early games. The Buffalo Sabres, they are plus 130 against the Hurricanes tonight in Buffalo. And let's go back to the sheet here and looking at the Sabres. They're 19, 7, and 11 in the first period this year at home. Carolina's 13, 19, and 5. But that's not the clincher. Here's the clincher for Carolina. The Hurricanes, yes, they have not played well of late. They've allowed 2 goals in the first period and 2 straight against Detroit and Boston. Here is the number I got to show you. This is just absolutely insane with Carolina. Carolina is 1-9 in the first period this year off a back-to-back set. 1-9, and look at some of the numbers here. They trailed Nashville 1-0. They were a heavy favorite. They trailed San Jose 1-0, heavy favorite. And I know these because after the black on the right, because that's the back-to-back. They did lead Detroit 1-0. That's the one win. But even before that, they trailed Columbus 2-0 as a heavy favorite. They trailed Anaheim 1-0 as a heavy favorite. They trailed Columbus as a heavy favorite. They trailed Tampa Bay on the road. New Jersey here, they trailed after the back-to-back set. So another one, Columbus here laying 190. So that one, I got to just go on principle with the Sabres. And also, the last time these teams played, Carolina jumped out to a 3-1 lead over Buffalo in Raleigh, and the Hurricanes won that game 5-2. It was kind of a blowout out of the gate. Just quickly looking at the Sabres, yes, they trailed Boston 2-0, but they came back and won 6-3. Buffalo has won 4 in a row, and they've won 7 of 8. So Buffalo's playing with confidence here down the stretch. Buffalo is not giving up, and understandably, they're not going to the playoffs. But Buffalo at least is playing very well, and you see what they've done, beating Winnipeg, beating Washington, beating Tampa Bay. They've had some good wins down the stretch here. So I don't have any doubt that the Sabres can play well again here. Now our total for the night. Islanders and Predators under -110. And let's start with the Islanders. Very emotional game on Sunday. Obviously, they won, beating the Capitals 4-1. The big celebration with Alex Ovechkin with his record-breaking goal. Now, again, the Islanders were on the other side of that, so it's not like they were the ones that were celebrating necessarily. But you had the game stop. You had a lot of things going on there. They beat Minnesota. They beat Washington. Now you're going to Nashville, where the Predators are out of playoff contention. Islanders have been on a huge overrun. When you look here, 8 of 10 they've gone on. Last time they played, the Islanders led the Predators 3-0 through 1 on Long Island on March 1st. I believe here that you won't see that result again, and that Nashville will play better out of the gate. Taking a look at the Predators, you see they've lost 6 straight. They've been terrible. But in the first period, except for this one game against Columbus where they trailed 3-1, 6 of the past 7, they haven't allowed a goal in the first period. So Nashville's been better. And even at home, they have not allowed a goal in 3 straight against St. Louis, Vegas, and Montreal. 3 teams all going to the playoffs. So now you're facing the Islanders, who are in desperation mode. They are outside playoff contention right now. But I do think that you will get a better effort or a good effort defensively from Nashville, like you've seen recently at home. So we're going to go with the first period under between the Predators and the Islanders as our second best bet of the night. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Proline TV. We'll be back with you coming up on Thursday with more NHL first period best bets and trends, and also regular season winding down. So we only got about a week left to take a look at all these trends and take advantage of them before the playoffs begin. You can find me on X at Rogers Picks. I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, best of luck with your bets.